Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that I think a lot of our listeners are going through or have gone through or maybe even dreading going through, and that is the tech job hunt.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's a beast. And we got a great blog post sent over from Algo Academy called Navigating the Emotional Roller Coaster of Job Hunting in Tech. And I think the title really says it all.
It does. It really captures it. It's not just about, your skills and your resume. It's a whole emotional journey.
It is. So let's just jump right in. Like, what makes this job hunt such a roller coaster? The article talks about anxiety, that uncertain future imposter syndrome always kind of whispering in your ear, and then that pressure to learn new technologies, like before the old ones even get cold.
Yeah, and it's that constant, feeling of having to keep. It's like the industry thrives on that always be learning,
Hmm.
which is exciting, but it can be exhausting too.
Yeah.
You're competing with so many brilliant minds, and the field just changes so rapidly. And sometimes, it feels like the culture itself is all about pushing yourself to the limit.
Hmm.
So it's no wonder it can feel like a pressure cooker.
Yeah. And then there's the dreaded R word.
Oh, the rejection.
Yeah, I think everyone who's ever applied for any job, not even just tech, knows that feeling of like staring at your inbox, willing it to like give you that interview invitation.
Oh, yeah. You're constantly refreshing your email, and then
Yeah.
each time it's not there, like this little mini heartbreak.
Right. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was how the article talks about rejection, not as like a dead end, but almost as redirection.
I like that.
Like it's an algorithm that's constantly adjusting its path to try to find the optimal solution.
It's like it's not a no, it's a not yet or a not here.
Exactly. So I guess before we even dive into all the tips and tricks that the article has, what's been your biggest struggle in a job hunt? For me, it was definitely feeling like I was constantly on. Like I never really got to like step away from the search.
Oh, I hear that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to let it consume you. And the article talks about, creating a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And that might sound kind of counterintuitive when you don't have like a traditional 9 to 5 structure anymore.
Right, because you're like, oh, I have all the time in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's actually when it's more important to set those boundaries, like having specific job search hours.
Oh, that's such a good idea. It's like, okay, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I am in job hunt mode. I'm going to tweak my resume. I'm going to apply for things. I'm going to practice my interviewing skills.
Yep.
But once the clock hits 2, I am stepping away and recharging.
Exactly. And that's how you prevent the job hunt from taking over every single aspect of your life. It's really important for protecting your mental well-being. And by sticking to that routine, it's almost like you're regaining some sense of control in the midst of all the uncertainty.
It's like you're saying, okay, job hunt, you're not the boss of me.
Exactly. You're the one calling the shots.
Okay, so we're talking about control. And the article has this great tip about focusing on small wins. They even recommend keeping a win journal. It's like a highlight reel for your job hunt journey.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
When you're so focused on that end goal of getting the job, it's easy to forget about the little victories you have along the way.
Right. It's like those little wins might not feel like much in the moment, but they really add up.
They do. And they can really give you a boost when you need it.
Absolutely. Like, what would you consider a small win?
Oh, so many things, like finally figuring out that coding challenge that was stumping you,
Mm-hmm.
or giving your LinkedIn profile a makeover so it really stands out,
Yeah.
or even just having a really great networking call where you connect with someone in the industry.
Right. It's those little moments that build your confidence and remind you that you're making progress.
It's like those incremental commits in a coding project. Each one might seem small, but they all contribute to the final product. And psychologically, those small wins can give you that little dopamine hit, that feeling of accomplishment that helps keep you going.
Because it can feel like a marathon sometimes,
Yeah.
can't it?
It definitely can.
So speaking of marathons, you need a good support system, right? Like I know the article talks a lot about building a network.
Yeah, a good support system is so important, especially in a field like tech. It's fast-paced, it's collaborative, and you really need people in your corner who get it.
Totally. Like it's not just about finding people who can give you job leads, although that's definitely a bonus.
Right. It's about having people who understand what you're going through, who can offer encouragement, maybe a little tough love when you need it, and celebrate those wins with you.
Yeah, it's like having your own personal debugging squad for your job hunt.
I love that. And don't forget about mentors, too.
Oh, yeah, those are gold.
Someone who's already climbed that tech career ladder can offer insights that you just wouldn't get otherwise. They've been through their own roller coaster rides, so they can help you anticipate the twists and turns.
Okay, so speaking of twists and turns, this article does not shy away from the importance of self-care. It's like they're giving us permission to actually prioritize ourselves, even when it feels like everything is on fire.
Because it's true. This process can be so draining mentally and physically. It's easy to let those healthy habits slide when you're feeling stressed and the pressure's on.
Right, like it's so easy to just live on caffeine and ramen noodles and pull all-nighters trying to cram in one more coding tutorial. But the article really stresses that taking care of our physical health actually fuels our mental well-being.
It makes sense. Our brains work best when our bodies are taken care of.
So what's one self-care activity that you are committing to this week?
Let me think. This week I'm going to make sure I get outside for at least 30 minutes every day. Even if it's just a walk around the block. Fresh air does wonders.
I love that. For me, it's going to be making sure I actually cook dinner at least 3 nights this week. It's so easy to just order takeout, but taking that time to prepare a healthy meal is really grounding for me.
Those are great goals. And I think that ties into the article's advice about reframing rejection. Instead of seeing it as a personal failure, it's about looking at it as data, as feedback.
Right. Like
Yeah.
it's just information that you can use to improve.
It's like that debugging process we talked about. You run into an error,
Yeah.
you analyze it, you learn from it, and you adjust your code accordingly,
And they even recommend keeping a rejection journal.
which I think is brilliant.
It's not about dwelling on the negative. It's about extracting insights from each experience so you
All
can
right.
keep moving forward.
It's all about cultivating that growth mindset. Maybe that no wasn't a rejection, but a redirection towards an even better opportunity
Huh.
or a chance to really hone your skills in a specific area.
It's like they say in the article, every no is a step closer to your yes.
Love that. And that brings us to another crucial point, continuously learning and staying relevant in this crazy fast-paced tech world.
Yeah, because the learning never really stops, does it?
It doesn't. And it can feel overwhelming with all the new technologies and frameworks that pop up constantly.
It's like, how do you even know where to start?
Well, the article suggests focusing on depth over breadth. Instead of trying to learn a little bit of everything, pick one or two areas that really interest you or align with your career goals, and then really dive deep.
Become the expert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't just passively consume information either. Get hands-on experience through personal projects or contribute to open source projects.
That's where you really get to put your skills to the test and build a portfolio that showcases what you can do.
It's like having a real-world sandbox where you can experiment and learn and make valuable contributions.
And speaking of contributions, one suggestion that I thought was really interesting was the idea of creating content, like starting a tech blog or a YouTube channel.
Ooh, I like that. It's not just about absorbing information, it's about sharing your knowledge and your passion with the world.
Right, and it helps you really solidify your own understanding when you have to explain it to someone else.
Absolutely. Plus, it's a great way to establish yourself as a thought leader in the tech community and attract the attention of potential employers who are looking for someone with your specific skills and interests.
It's like you're building your own personal brand while simultaneously contributing to the larger tech ecosystem.
Exactly. So if you've been feeling stuck in that traditional job hunt rut, maybe it's time to shake things up. What's something you've always wanted to create or share with the world? This could be the perfect opportunity to explore that passion project or dive into a new area of tech that's been calling your name.
It's like you're adding another dimension to your job search strategy. You're not just looking for a job, you're building a career, you're crafting your own narrative, and you're becoming an active participant in the tech community. So it feels like we've built this like toolkit now, right? To help people navigate this whole tech job hunt thing with strategies for like staying sane and motivated and open to new opportunities.
Yeah, and if I had to pick like one tool to put at the top of that toolkit, it would be self-compassion.
Ooh, that's a good one. And the article really highlights that too. It is so easy to be our own worst critics, especially when you're facing rejection or feeling the pressure to like succeed.
Imagine for a second that a close friend is going through this same job hunt.
Yeah.
They're feeling overwhelmed, they're doubting themselves, they're second-guessing everything.
Oh, I can definitely see that. We've all been there.
So what advice would you give them?
I think I'd remind them that they're talented and capable and worthy, regardless of whether or not they land this one specific job, and to celebrate the progress they've made, even the small stuff.
Exactly. And to remember that setbacks are just a natural part of the journey. It's not a straight line to success.
Totally. And now here comes the hard part.
The hard part.
Applying that same kindness and understanding to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. That's always harder, isn't it?
Way harder. It's so much easier to be compassionate to others than it is to ourselves.
But it's so essential. Self-compassion is like the fuel that keeps us going when we're running on empty. It helps us bounce back from those setbacks, silence that inner critic, and approach each new challenge with a little bit more hope and resilience.
I love that. So to everyone out there navigating this crazy tech job hunt roller coaster, remember to be your own best cheerleader. Celebrate those wins, learn from the setbacks, and most importantly, be kind to yourself.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into the emotional roller coaster that is the tech job hunt.
We hope you found this helpful.
Remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of tech folks out there who have been through it and are rooting for you.
Keep learning, keep growing, keep connecting, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
You got this. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.